Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Anchorage Ice Tigers Draft to Glory franchise mode here in NHL 23. So in last episode, we had another off season, and we kind of had a little bit of a cap crunch in a sense because we had to let go of Bickle and Zykov again. So Zykov signed in Montreal, and Bickle I think went to San Jose if I remember right. But our team still looks pretty solid, I'd say, on the offensive front. Defense still obviously has been a bit of a problem the last few years, but we are trying to get some of our younger guys in, like for example Dmitry Leeson. He's getting a chance to play, which I'm very excited about considering he was a 17th overall pick of us a few years back. Also, Yansevsky's going to get a chance, so the two of those guys playing with Vico should be cool. The reason Yansevsky's playing with Vico is because Yansevsky has 99 passing, so I'm hoping that he could set up Vico a lot this season because the two of these guys should be like bread and butter and go really good together. Also, our fourth line is pretty much similar to last year. Lee Gamble, I think, is getting his first time in the NHL, so that's going to be exciting to see what this guy could do. Low lead at 20, so we got a lot of good young guys getting into the lineup, but obviously we're still in a little bit of a cap crunch because of all the old veteran guys like Parrott, Keith, Hartnell, Claxton, Darby. They're all getting paid a decent amount of money. We almost lost Darby in the offseason as well, but we had to pay him $14 million to keep around for one more year. So his potential also is only a top 6 potential now. And I don't know if it was elite last year, because if it was, that's a bit concerning. Like, I don't know if he's going to be a young retirement or whatnot. And our defense, of course, you can see we did bring back a couple former defensemen. So Mikhail Kalinin is back again. We also have Trey Farrell back, and then we still have young guys, Smith Pelly, who's jumping up overall-wise, Howe's jumping up overall-wise, and then still Danner and Bouwmeester. Goalie-wise, it's Busher and Novikov. And then this is our depth right now as well. DeMarchi is scratched. Sabrin is scratched, which I don't really like to do since he's a low elite kind of guy, or a top 6 forward potentially. But he is an enforcer, so we're scratching him, and we also have Lucic. So 3 solid depth options. If we run into any troubles, we can always throw them in. And then this is currently our AHL team, which obviously we brought back also a couple other former players for more depth purposes. So Felix Walzer, Jeremy Vandenbush are back in the AHL with our team. Those guys could be potential call-ups if we run into problems playoff-wise and all that type of thing. If we get to the playoffs, that is. We also did bring back Michael Bissick as a depth goaltender in case goaltenders aren't doing too well. And yeah, that's pretty much that. Now, we do need to get a couple prospects in. Nables for sure. I need to make sure I have some of these guys in a lineup. And we also need to get a Fanaganov in, and then probably I'll put Haydeen in for Bissick, just because Bissick is more of an NHL depth goaltender for us, but we're not going to be playing him in the AHL. So, yeah, let's get Nables and a Fanaganov in, especially Nables with those X factors. So we will take Spruev out of the lineup, and Nables is going to get moved to the top pairing with Klubis. And then we got to get a Fanaganov in, which means I think, Chistov has got to come out. And we'll try and get rid of these minuses as much as possible. Yeah, there's no way I could get rid of that minus, I don't think, on the top 6, which is unfortunate, but there it is. And I think that's all we needed to put in, right? Low top 9, low top 6, high fringe, obviously, low 4, and medium 7th. Yeah, that's good. So there's the AHL team. Hopefully the AHL team has a good year, and hopefully guys like Loins, who I think has low elite potential and whatnot, continue to develop, because obviously we need all the help we could get, because we don't have a lot of years left to be a competitive team, because we only have probably like 5 seasons left of this franchise mode. So yeah, there's that, and I'm excited to see what this team does. I feel like we should be still a playoff team in the NHL, but at the same time, if we miss, it might not be a bad thing, because then we could get a good prospect. The only thing is, with guys like Darby and Bouwmeester, I believe, as well, on expiring deals, we might end up losing them as well this coming up off season, right? So it's better to be competitive with those type of guys, but at the same time, obviously, a elite prospect would probably turn this team into being even better, like especially on the defensive side of things, because our defensive core has definitely taken a hit over like the last 10 seasons. So anyways, there's that. Let's get into the season simulation and see if we can make it to the playoffs, because I honestly have no idea if this team's going to make it or not. I really hope we do, but at the same time, if we suffer some regression, it's probably because of a lot of the guys on our team are getting older, because for example, Parrott's already 35, so we might end up losing him to retirement this offseason or next offseason or even the season after that. Also, guys that played with us like last year, like Bickle and Zikov, they could potentially retire this offseason too, which would not be great. So there's a lot of former players that might end up retiring at the end of this year. And yeah, I think we're ready to go for the season start. Let me just make sure, contract-wise, there was no unsigned guys that I wanted to bring in for our team yet. Yeah, these guys are not ready yet. Larmore is also a good prospect, so we do have good prospects, but I don't know if they have the time to make it before the series ends, which is unfortunate. So there's that, and yeah, let's get into the season and see what this team does. We'll take it a month at a time, and like I said, if there's any problems with specific players, we could always put in those depth pieces that we have in the NHL, and if those guys don't really do well either, we do have some AHL guys we could always call up if we really want to, but I don't think I'm going to do that just because of waivers and all that type of thing. Okay, let's go to November the 1st, see how we do in our first month of action. Good start. 2 games in a row with 5 goals. Yeah, we're off to a good start. Okay, I think we're going to be a playoff team this year based on that. Based on that start, 7-1, we're going to be a playoff team. Unless this team randomly just completely just doesn't do good the rest of the season. But 7-1 to start the season is always a good sign. And Derek Heath has 14 points in 8 games. Is his contract up for renewal? I don't think so, right? Oh, Ricardo Hartnell's the big one this offseason. Woohoo! Jeez. Oh my, yeah, I think we're going to end up losing somebody huge this upcoming offseason because, yeah, it's probably going to be either Hartnell or Darby. That leaves Danner's also up for renewal. Oh no. Our defensive core is going to be tragic next offseason unless we get an elite defenseman somehow in the draft. $16 million. Yeah, the 3 of these guys are going to cost a ton. Bouwmeester is going to cost a ton, so yeah, this upcoming offseason, I'm not looking forward to it, so we better win a Stanley Cup this year. That way I'll at least feel a little bit better if I end up having to lose somebody. But, oof. But it's good to see Derek Heath doing well. I thought his contract was going to be up for renewal because usually players have career seasons when their contract is up for some reason. They want to get paid money, which makes sense. Let's see how we do this month. And now we've lost 2 in a row, but we bounced back with a win, which was good. A little bit of a worser month for this team. I know worser's not a word, but still. 12-5. 12-7. Yay, yikes. Yeah, we're having a tragic month by comparison. Oof. 14-8. Still really good, but I mean, that was definitely a tough month by comparison to the first month. Because we lost 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 of those games. And we won how much? We won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Actually, we were 7-7, so we were 500, so it wasn't actually as bad as I thought, but still. Keith has got 30 points in 22 games. We are currently 3rd place behind the Kings and the Oilers in our division. Not too bad. Let's keep on simming. See if there's anything that we need to make in terms of changes at January the 1st. We'll do that. We'll take a look at our defensive core and see if anybody's really badly minus or somebody on our forward core is really badly minus. I don't really want to take a look at player stats, though, yet is the thing. Because I would rather just find that out at the end of the season. But, yeah, we're kind of struggling a little bit. It's probably our defensive core, more than likely. We definitely aren't doing as well as we were in the first month, but maybe it's better just to be like this type of record because, like I said, if you dominate an entire season, you're usually a first-round exit. But if you're kind of like a 500 team, it's better. But we have not lost a game in overtime. Well, we have lost games in overtime, but we haven't... Actually, no, we haven't lost a single game in overtime or shootout. We're 22-16 on the dot, so it's a bit of a weird record. We're currently 2nd in the division still, though. But we have played more games than everybody else in it, so that's a bit concerning. We're only 2 points up on the wild card spot. And the Golden Knights are not in the playoffs right now. And, of course, Ricardo Hartnell. Like I was saying, when you have a guy that has their contract up for renewal, they usually play really good. Well, Ricardo Hartnell knows that this offseason he's going to make bank. And he decides he's going to probably have a career year this year. So we're not going to be able to probably end up getting him back. I really want to get him back. But if he ends up costing too much, it might cost us a lot of our other parts of our team. So we got to kind of weigh the options a little bit and see if that's a thing that's in our plans for the future. Because, like I said, we don't have a ton of time left in this series. Like, I believe the last year is 20-46-47, and we're just finishing up 42-43. So, I hope we make the playoffs this year, though, because if we miss the playoffs and Hartnell's up for renewal, right, then it's going to cost a lot of money, and he might not want to come back to this team. But let me go to edit lines quickly, see if there's anything problematic goalie-wise at the moment. Oh, yeah, the goaltending has not been good. Novikov's been the better of the two. Pusher's not having a good year. I'm going to still run with the goaltending scenario, but don't really like that. These two guys are three guys we go through waivers if I had to send them down, so I can't even do that to call up a goalie option. That's not good. I'm going to keep this team still forward-wise and defensively the same, I think. I might actually just do one flip just to see if that changes anything, the dynamic a little bit. Ooh, I'll try this, actually. Split up Bomeister and Daner. Yeah, let's try that. Trey Farrell, you're getting top minutes now with Daner. We'll see if that helps out anything, but who knows. We're still doing good. It's just the defensive play seems to not be there, which makes sense with the team's quality. Like, we're a good offensive team, probably for sure. But when it comes to defense, we're kind of in a nowhere to be found territory. So, there's a win over Boston. There's a win there. There's another win. Okay, there we go. Now we're starting to play our game of winning hockey games by scoring a lot of goals. Yeah, this is a much better month. Almost a too good of a month, though. We did lose our first game in overtime this season, though. And we had a month where we did not lose a single game in regulation. Well, that's much better. 32, 16, and 1. We had 4, 7, 8. Yeah, we were basically 10, 0, and 1 in our 11 games in the month of January. So that was much better. So those changes might have helped out a lot. Derek Keith is now up to 58 points. He might have a 100-point season in the bag. Might. That depends on the second half of the year. We are currently second place in our division, still only behind the LA Kings. And we are currently probably like top 5 in the league, which I would rather finish 5th in the league than 1st in the league, because maybe that gives us a better chance at winning a Stanley Cup. So, not too bad. Let's continue to simulate. Let's go another month. See if we keep on that path. There's a shootout loss. There's another extra frame loss, but we have let the lose in regulation in quite some time, and now, of course, we get 2 of them in a row. 3 of them in a row. Oh, man, this sim engine's funny sometimes. Like, they give you a long winning streak, and then they just give you a bunch of losses in a row, too. Still a pretty solid month for us, it's looking like, though. Much better defensively, too. 39, 21, and 2 at March the 1st. Keith is up to 70 points in 62 games. Love to see it. He's also another guy that's getting close to retirement age. Like, he's like 32, 33, I'd like to say. We are currently 1 point back of the Kings with 1 game in hand for the lead in the Pacific. And yeah, we're probably like 6th in the league, I think. The best team in the entire league right now is the Preds. They already got 40 wins. Interesting. Let's continue to simulate it. Everything's looking pretty good so far, but obviously we just don't want to win the President's Trophy. That's the one thing I do not want. That President's Trophy has caused me too much pain in franchise modes. It's like, yeah, you just won the top spot in the league, but it just literally means nothing whatsoever. It means no Stanley Cup most of the time. Now, I have won the Stanley Cup and President's Trophies in other series in the same years, but it doesn't happen that often for me at all. So, I don't like the odds when we win the Presidents at all. We have a lot of extra frame games this month. Some of them we've lost, some of them we've won. We might hit 50 wins again this season. We're 47, 24, and 5, and we still have 5 games left, 6 games left, my bad. Can't do math, apparently. Yeah, we're now first place in our division, and the Kings have fallen off quite a bit. That's not good. We are currently the 3rd best team in the NHL. The Preds are 2nd. The best team in the league right now is the Florida Panthers, who in real life obviously are off to the Cup Finals, so that's crazy. They've already clinched the division, and I believe they've also... Yeah, they're very close to probably clinching the entire Eastern Conference. No, they actually have clinched the Eastern Conference, because they're like 12 points up on the next closest team, and that's the Islanders. Wow. We are currently, though, the 2nd best team in the West. Huh. Keith is up to 80 points, so he kind of slowed down a bit, so he's not going to hit 100 points, but maybe we have really good depth scoring this year. I would probably bank on that we have good depth scoring, because probably Jansevsky has been setting up Vico for like 30 goals at least. That's my guess. Let's go these last 6 games, and then we should be clinching a playoff spot. There's a loss, a shootout win, a loss, a win, and a win. So we finished 51, 26 in 5. And yeah, we've made it back to the playoffs. We have clinched the Western Conference? No, we clinched our division, but just missed out on the West. The Preds won the West by 1 point. But at least we weren't the Panthers. They had 119 points, 57 wins this year. So they're primed for a first round exit likely. Wow. Wow. And yeah, we won our division by almost 10 points. So, and LA missed the playoffs. Holy, that is probably the biggest fall off I've seen. They started the year well in first place. And then all of a sudden, afterwards, they just plummeted. Like, maybe they sold some assets. I don't really know. But that is a massive drop-off. Wow. Okay, let's take a look at team stats and player stats. And stats around the league. And see how good we did. So, entire league-wise, yeah, we were the 3rd best team in the NHL. Only 1 point up on the Islanders. There was only 5 teams with over 100 points this year. A lot of teams that just barely missed out, though. But, interesting. I think we're in a good spot to maybe win ourselves a Stanley Cup, but at the same time, who knows with this dimension. Because usually being a top 5 team in the league is a good thing, but obviously you want to be not the top team or the second team. You want to be 3rd to 5th to win a Stanley Cup most of the time, for me at least. Goals for per game, where did we finish? We were tied for the 3rd best offensive team in the league with the Montreal Canadiens, behind St. Louis and Florida, of course, who was the best team in the league with 4.11 goals per game. Jeez. Goals against per game wise, looks like mid-table. So yeah, defense was a problem. Not a surprise though. Yeah, we're a little bit above mid-table, I think. So it's not terrible, but obviously that's definitely where we need to improve. Power play percentage. Our power play was kind of mid-table as well, 18.6%. So we're, I guess, a really good 5-on-5 team in terms of offense. Penalty kill was one of the worst in the league. So that's probably why we were not a good defensive team. So our penalty kill might need some work. 6 short-handed goals, 26-13-2 on home ice, 25-13-3 on the road, and 7-3 in our last 10 games. I don't like that we were good in our last 10 games, though, because if you have a good last 10 games, also, it's like first-round exit. If you have a bad last 10 games, you go on to win the Stanley Cup sometimes. At least I figure. Let's take a look at these player stats. See who did what. So, Derek Heath, 88 points this year and a plus 28. He is 33 now. Still has that elite potential, which is good, but his overall is dropping a little bit. But yeah, Derek Heath might be a Channel Hall of Famer. Who knows? He has been really good. He's almost a point per game in his career. He's got great plus-minus. His playoff numbers are also really good. So, I'd say Derek Heath is definitely up there for a potential Hall of Fame candidate player. Obviously, we'll find that out, who ends up making the Hall of Fame and stuff like that, probably at the end of NHL 23. Ricardo Hartnell had a good season, but is he going to get paid a lot? Probably. I just don't know if it's by us or not. 45 goals, 79 points. Let's take a look at that. Yeah, not his career high in points, but he did score his 2nd highest goal total, so he might want to get paid just based off of that, but hopefully not too much. Avery Parrott, 78 points, 46 goals for Parrott. He is currently our best goal scorer of all time. 730 goals now for him in 1,476 games. Love to see it. And he also has 100 goals in the playoffs. So excited to see what he does this year in the postseason. He's probably also a Channel Hall of Famer, I'd say. At least he should be up there. His potential's dropped down to exact top 9. He's an 85. I didn't even realize that. No. He's 36 now. This might be Avery Parrott's last year in the NHL. Oh, no. Please. If Parrott retires, I'm going to literally just not even want to touch the series almost. Because Parrott's my favorite player, I'd say. But, oh, man. That's the pain of getting into these later years. It's like you lose these guys that you've, like, seen their entire careers. And it's just like they randomly retire. It's like pain. Like another guy, Miles Claxton, I forgot about him. He also could be retiring soon. He's 35. Had another 60-point season. He's a bottom 6'4", 83 overall. There's a good chance he retires this offseason with that potential dropping a lot. But he has been a very underrated player in this series. 815 points up to this point. Please don't retire there, Miles. I know you're going to drop off more, but we need you. Dmitry Leeson in his rookie season, 32 points and a plus 14 with no power play time. I like it. I like it. This guy is the future for this team. Maybe. So there's that. Left wing wise, Ted Darby, 56 points. Not really worth the 14 million. Not really worth the 14 million, I can tell you that right now. Like, if I had to choose between him and Hartnell, I would probably choose Hartnell. Because Hartnell's definitely a better proven goal scorer. Darby's been more of a consistent 30-goal guy. And that's pretty much it. He did have 82 points a couple years back, but yeah, he's not been as good for sure. Jansevsky in his rookie season, 56 points. He might win Rookie of the Year if he's still eligible for it. That's a really good season. Hoping for a good playoffs for him as well. Obviously, he's a more playmaker, so there's 48 assists, which is kind of nuts. Bobkov had 50 assists and 56 points. How much years left on his contract? Only 2, or 1 more technically. And then there's Vico, 32 goals, 54 points. Vico's been just a good goal scorer. He's only an 81, but he does score consistently 30-goal seasons, which I really like. And I mean, for the price point we're paying for him, it is worth every penny. Hagos, 27 points, not bad. Gamble, 25 in his rookie season. I'll take it. I will take it. Right wing wise, Glencross, 24 points, not bad. And then our defensive core, Danner, 59 points. He's going to want to get paid this offseason, which means he might be gone. He is listed actually as a top 2 defenseman, which I did not expect. But he is. Apparently the league is not that great. Bouwmeester also is going to want to get paid. 54 points for him. Why do these guys have to have career years at this point? He's a goal-scoring defenseman, so we might want to hold on to him. But, geez, yeah, if we lose the 2 of these guys, our defensive core is absolutely tragic, and we'll probably end up missing the playoffs for the rest of this franchise mode at that point, my guess. Kalinin, 18 points, not bad. He's dropped down to the 7th D potential, so he probably retires soon. Trey Farrell as well. He might retire this offseason. Plus 28, that's pretty good, though. Smith Pelly is still young, same with Howes, pretty solid numbers. Goalie-wise, the goaltending stats didn't really improve too much, but Pusher had an 895 and a 309. Novikov had a 900 and a 297. I'd say Novikov probably should be the playoff starter based on those numbers, but likely I'll still give Pusher a chance anyways. So we'll see how that prevails in the playoffs. Let's go to the entire league and see how players have done so far, or actually in the season. Melvin Lowry, we could have drafted this guy at one point, 102 points. Led the league, former Seattle Kraken. Yeah, I remember this guy. I don't remember who we picked instead of him, but he was definitely up there. I think maybe the same draft as Parrott or who else? Or Bickle, maybe. Yeah, it may have been the same draft as Bickle. I feel like. I don't know. He led the league in points anyways, 102 points. And Ernie had 100. Best goal scorer this season was Tuomainen in Florida at 59 goals. And then Lukovic in Calgary at 56. Widening up there, Lupul, Pedersen, and DeMello. And Lowry and Tervanen all had 50 goals. Let's take a look at Selke candidates. See what we got here for potential candidates. So takeaway numbers and good face-off numbers we're looking for. With a lot of face-offs taken. Rogers probably didn't take enough face-offs. Clarence 90. Yeah, it's probably Clarence 90. 55% on the draw. Connor Bedard also probably up there because he had a good face-off percentage. I don't see Derek Heath up there, which is kind of concerning, but oh well. Bazina might be up there a little bit. I don't know. I'd say it's probably going to go to Connor Bedard, or it could go to this guy too. Actually, his face-off numbers are worse than his takeaways numbers are worse, so probably not. Or it might go to Matty Niemanen. 57% on the draw. That's the best face-off numbers we've seen yet. So there's that. Best defenseman in terms of points, Devin Lawrence in Dallas. Has this guy won a Stanley Cup yet? Because I remember seeing him in his early stages. He has not gotten far in the playoffs. Poor guy. Poor guy. Dallas has just not gotten that far. Boris Zikov, though, would have been up there probably for it as well. But, Morgan Denny is in Florida, too. So Morgan Denny was on the best team in the NHL in Florida. He might win another Norris. Good stat line, really good plus minus. That plus minus might make the difference. He was in Florida last year as well, and had a really good playoffs. I do kind of miss Morgan Denny, but it is what it is. He's getting paid $17 million, so that's a lot of money, but oh well. Danner was top 5 in defensive points, so that's good. Bouwmeester was also up there. Best goaltender for wins, Riesner in Florida had a 50-win season. Jeez. Most shutouts, Pettinen in Nashville. Best save percentage by a starter was Pettinen in Nashville as well with a .919, and best goals against average by a starter was Pettinen. So Pettinen is definitely going to win the Vezina, I think. Any goalie goals for fun too? No goalie goals. Most goalie assists was Malcolm with 5. And the best rookie this year, Jansevsky, is going to be our first Calder winner likely, unless for some reason they give it to Penner or Denisov or Zajac because plus minus stuff. But Jansevsky led the rookies in points. Love to see it. Love to see it. When was this guy drafted again? 5th round. What a pick. What a pick. So there is all that. Let's take a look at who we are going to be playing in round 1. And that'll be it for this episode. I really hope our team can win the Stanley Cup this year, because obviously we might not be able to resign a lot of guys. We might have a lot of big retirements this year too. So we are going to be taking on St. Louis in round 1. They went 43-30-9. Ooh, they might be a cheese team. Or they might be a good team that finished off terribly. Who knows? Let's take a look at first at what they did during a regular season. Let's see what they got. So let's go to the Western Conference. Yeah, they finished as a 7th seeded team. They scored more goals per game than us. So that's probably where they're good. Their defense was worse than us by a little bit. Their power play was a little bit worse than us by 0.1%. And penalty kill, theirs was a little bit better. So this might be actually a really close series. Depends on what their roster actually looks like, though, because I don't think I've ever played the Blues in this franchise mode. I know I have in Chicago, but I'm not sure if I have in this series or not. It might have been a long, long time ago if I did. Oh, Connor Bedard's there and he's dropping off. Ilya Vorobiev, former Duck. We might have played him a couple times in the playoffs. There's Connor Bedard at 37. Didn't realize he was that old now at this point. He's still pretty good offensively, but not the type of player he's going to be in real life, likely. And then our former player in LaRose. How's he been? Pretty good. Played 1 year in LA. This was his first year in St. Louis. And he's still here for another year. Yeah, that's a pretty solid top line. It's not the best top line in the world, but Connor Bedard's there. So the second line, though, is where they have their meats and potatoes. Demetrius Ernie, who had 100 points. Wow. When was he drafted? By the Calgary Flames in 2027. Damn. Not long ago, huh? Yeah, this guy's pretty good. This guy's pretty good. And they also have Joseph Dryden, who's a younger guy, but has also been pretty solid. And then, of course, they have Gordon DeMello, who's also been pretty good. Yeah, that second line is really good. Their second line's better than their top line, so that's a little bit weird. I mean, even with Connor Bedard, too. Third line, Jonathan Sullivan. Not really much of anything, but he's probably going to score a game-winning goal. Just watch. Alex Gove and Stanislav Kozlov. Not really that great. So, yeah, this bottom 6 is definitely pretty weak. And a fourth line of Quinton Goalie, who's not a goalie, Billy Russo, and Mauricio Sillinger. So a very young bottom 6. Gove is definitely the best player on it, and everybody else is like fourth line / AHL players. So these guys must be getting paid a lot of money. We know LaRose is getting paid 7.6. Bedard is still making 11, which is not bad for him, actually. Vorobiev is getting paid 6.7. That's a lot. Ernie's getting paid $16 million. Dryden's getting paid 11. And DeMello's getting paid 13. So, yeah, this second line and Bedard is the expensive part. Defensively, they got a really weird system. What is, like, their coach must be, like, on crack or something. Like, what's this defensive core? 3 good X-Factor defensemen. And then you have 3 crap defensemen. I don't get it. Silas Cardwell, haven't we played this guy before in the playoffs? Yeah, with Vegas, I think it was. Yeah, I think it's with Vegas that I remember him from. So they have Silas Cardwell, but they also have Julius Sarno, who looks like a great player as well. Yeah, they probably have a nasty looking power play unit, even though it was worse than ours. Yeah, this guy's really good. Jimmy Pierce. Kind of more an old school defensive defenseman, I guess, but does pick up some points. They also have DeAndre Mackey, who's a 76 with high top 6 potential. Was a former top pick, almost like 13th overall. That's pretty high up for a guy with only high top 6 potential. Michael Yashin, low top 4. That's a 78. DFD as well, and Corzani. Yeah, this is a weird looking team. Really weird looking team. And then goalie wise, Michel Thibault and Rafael Travers. Not really that great goaltending either wise. These guys might be cheese goalies, but still. I am not really sold fully on their team. Like, they have definitely the great pieces. Like, if we go to this power play unit, that's a nasty looking power play. And that's also a good looking power play, kind of, with at least DeMello there. But when you look at, like, the lack of depth, like Sullivan, Sillinger, goalie, Kozlov, Russo, Cardwell, Mackey, Yashin, and then these two goalies, we should be able to beat them. But will we beat them? Probably not, because AI in this game is a little bit weird. Like Bertuzzi, Moroza, and Oliver's depth as well is not great, or Oliver, I should say. Yeah, I definitely think we have a good chance to beat them, but we definitely need to contain their top guys. So especially that second line, Connor Bedard, and then Sarno. But anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our Anchorage Ice Tigers Draft to Glory franchise mode. So in next episode, we'll take it to round 1 against the St. Louis Blues and see if we're able to get ourselves out of that first round and beyond that. Because obviously, we're running out of time to win the Stanley Cup. And if we lose, we might suffer a lot of retirements. And it will not be good if that is the case. So anything down below, and I'll see you guys next time.